If you've ever tried hand lettering and been frustrated by your efforts, it may be that you are focusing on the wrong things. In this video, I want to talk about some of the common things people think that they need to know or have when starting hand lettering, tell you why those things may not really be all that important, and tell you the things that I think you really need to know to create beautiful hand lettering. So let's jump right in. The first thing that you may have thought you needed when it comes to hand lettering is fancy hand lettering tools. You may have heard from someone that a certain brush pen makes a huge difference in their hand lettering. Or you may have seen expensive calligraphy tools on Instagram. And while fancy pens can be really fun, and different brush pens can make a big difference for different people, those things may not be true or important for you. And here's why. We are all looking for different things with our hand lettering. Let me give you one quick example. You may have heard me say how much I love Sharpie stained brush pens, and it's true, I do. But they're crazy liquidy, and they can take a really long time to dry. So if you are a person who hand letters with your left hand, you probably already know what I'm going to say, but you may not like the Sharpie stained brush pen because when you're hand lettering, the ink may streak across the page. So not every pen works the same for every person, and fancy pens do not equal beautiful hand lettering. The next thing that you may think you need to know when it comes to hand lettering is terminology. We talk about upstrokes and downstrokes, and yes, those are both pretty important ones to know, but crossbars or minuscules, axis, shoulder. Now, if you're a calligraphy teacher, this may be different for you, but for most hand letterers, I think it's okay if we just refer to things using everyday terminology. You are not any worse of a calligrapher if you refer to the sizes of letters as uppercase and lowercase. In fact, over the years, I have purposely tried not to throw in too much lettering terminology on this channel because it's no fun to try and learn something when you can't even understand what someone is saying. Yes, I may know the full formal name for this shape, but here we call it a loop, and that does not make it any less beautiful. The next thing you may think that you need in order to hand letter is a large variety of pens. It may seem like more equals better, but after trying probably hundreds of pens out for this channel, I think I can confidently say that so many of the popular brush pens are very similar and do very similar things. Having more does not necessarily equal more variation in your lettering or even an easier time creating hand lettering. In the next part of this video, I'm going to tell you what I recommend instead, but let me just reiterate, you do not need a craft room full of brush pens to create beautiful hand lettering. So what do you actually need to learn hand lettering? Let's talk about a few things that I think actually are pretty important. Number one, trade the hundreds of types of brush pens for good paper. Now hear me out. Good does not have to equal expensive. For years, I've been sharing that my favorite paper for hand lettering is HP Premium 32 paper. I still love this paper, but it's not that it's the most high quality. It's just very good, but also very affordable. So I love that combination. That being said, it is 2023 and this paper has literally doubled in price since I started buying it. I still love it and I think it's great. I just bought some more the other week, but I will link a few more of my favorite options in the description box below so you can see a few more different types that I have used and enjoyed in case the HP Premium 32 is not an option for you or you're just looking for something different. Ultimately though, we're looking for smooth paper. Hand lettering on a smooth piece of paper, whether you are using a brush pen or even a gel pen, in my opinion, feels pretty amazing. But it also helps to keep your brush pens from fraying, which is really important when it comes to hand lettering. I also find that some of my pens just feel like they work better on smooth paper. Whether that's how the brush pen looks or how it feels going on, it just helps me. I also find that for me, I tend to have more shaky upstrokes when I'm not using a smooth paper because my brush pen just isn't gliding across the paper as nicely. So number two is, instead of all that fancy terminology, let's know these two things. First of all, upstrokes and downstrokes. I will go over this quickly on a super basic level, but if you have not joined my free hand lettering course yet, make sure to find that linked below or by going to howtohandletter.com/mini course. But essentially, we're going to remember downstrokes, apply more pressure, thicker strokes, and upstrokes, apply lighter pressure, thinner strokes. So those two things are really important when it comes to hand lettering, and that combined with the next one that we're going to talk about is really the key in my opinion. Now, you don't even have to be making words or even letters. Just practice this over and over and over and over until it feels like second nature. And if you get a new brush pen, You may want to come back to this step to familiarize yourself with how this feels using your new brush pen, because pens are different, and in my opinion, it's knowing this that can create that beautiful hand lettering and not the specific pen. The second thing that you need to know are some basic strokes. You will learn these plus more in my free mini course, but let me quickly show you how just a few strokes can turn into one word. If you've never broken down a word or a letter in this way before, you may have tried to connect all your letters together without even lifting your pen, which is totally normal when you're a beginner. I mean, that's probably what you were taught when you learned cursive, like don't lift up your pen, write as quickly as possible. But in hand lettering, we kind of break these rules and do the opposite. Which leads me to the next thing you need to know, which is that it's okay to lift up your pen after every single stroke if you need to. That's pretty much what I do. And on top of that, go slowly. I think that lifting up your pen can have so many benefits. It kind of helps you to reset your hand lettering and really think through what stroke you are going to create next. And I think by doing that, it can help you to create more neat and even hand lettering. The next thing that I think you should know is to go slowly. This is not a race, and the goal of hand lettering is not to write as quickly as possible. Slowing down and lifting up that brush pen can not only help with smoother transitions, having less shaky strokes, and making neat and even hand lettering, but I think that it can also help to make hand lettering a little bit more enjoyable. Getting into the flow of hand lettering can be kind of a relaxing process for me, and I think that going slowly really can help here. And I cannot end this video without sharing one of my top recommendations, which is tracing. I love tracing worksheets, and I know that's kind of funny because I'm the one who made them, but even though I've been doing this for a long time, I still love going back to those worksheets and practicing a new style. I love worksheets because they take the guesswork out of where your pen needs to go next, and you can focus on those things like thick and thin strokes without also having to worry about how the letter looks. I will link a video at the end of this one sharing a few of my favorite lettering styles in case you missed it. So thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you over there in that video. Bye!